In section 2, we will be covering trick scores and selection. If you haven't already, I would recommend that you watch the previous videos in this series. Let's get started. Before we look at trick selection, we need to know how many points each trick is worth. To make this easier, I have created a trick scores page, which you can find at winnythps.com/trick-scores. The link will be in the description below. This page covers the scoring system for all trick types. Okay, let's take a look at the trick scores page. Firstly, go to winnythps.com. On the home page, you will see links to the videos from this guide at the top. And if we scroll down, you will see a link to the trick scores page. Click the link to load the page. The first thing we will see is the trick scores home tab. Here we have a list of tabs. We have some useful info on the scoring system. And then we have some more detail on holding grabs, grinds and lips. So if we go into the trick scores tab, you can see here the trick scores tab lists every trick in the game. It then lists what score you get by each stance and then also for each repeat. And if we scroll to the right, the total available score from that particular trick. If we scroll down, you can see that it covers flips, it covers grabs, lips, special tricks, and finally grinds. If you'd like a little bit more detail on either flip tricks or grabs, we have the flips tab. So you can see in the flip tab, it lists the score for single, double or triple tap flip tricks. And then if we go into the grabs tab, again, it just lists the single or double tap scores available for grab tricks. And finally, for tricks that can be held, such as grinds, grabs and lips, we can look in the holds tab. The holds tab shows the start score, the hold score, the duration of the hold, and the end score. I will explain a little bit more about how these scores are calculated in the next slide. Grabs, grinds and lips are a little bit more difficult to put a fixed score on. This is because, unlike flip tricks and specials, they are worth more the longer that you hold them. So, this is how I worked out the scores for grabs, grinds and lips. I recorded a video of each trick. I found the start time, when the start score first appears. I found the end time, when the end score appears. This gave me the hold duration in milliseconds. I then found the start score and the end score. This gave me the duration score. From this, we know that trick has a start score of 300 points and a hold score of 0.7 points per millisecond, or 700 points per second. There is something you need to be aware of when looking at grabs, grinds and lips. Some tricks have a low start score but a high hold score, whilst others have a high start score but a low hold score. Therefore, depending on how long you plan to hold the trick, you may need to alter your trick selection. For example, if we look at the cannonball and the FS Shifty, the cannonball has a low start score but a high hold score, whilst the FS Shifty has a high start score but a low hold score. The graph shows the score gained versus the hold time in milliseconds. What this shows is that if we were holding the trick for less than 1500 milliseconds, we would gain more points using the FS Shifty. If we were holding the trick for more than 1500 milliseconds, we would gain more points using the Cannonball. All of the scores on the trick score page are based on holding the trick for 1500 milliseconds, and this is very important when making your trick selections. Okay, next up we have my trick selections. There is no point in talking you through every trick selection, so I'm just going to show you what tricks I use. So firstly we have the specials, then flip tricks. One thing to mention here is that the sail flip is the highest scoring flip trick, but I do not use it. For me, using all repeats of this trick on both stances is not practical, but this is just a preference. Next we have the grabs. And finally we have the lip tricks.